What's good, Raider Nation? Spicy Raider Girl here with my boy Scotty Waddy Raider 1. Welcome to the premiere episode of Season 2 of Monday Night Madness. Today we are talking about Minshew Mania. Are you ready for it?
Fact is, I grew up in Compton, California. I was born a Raider. I was born with the Raiders rolling in the Coliseum in L.A. I was rolling with NWA, talking straight out of Compton, rocking Raider hats.
Clicked in my mind that if you just run through somebody's face, a lot of people ain't gonna be able to take that over and 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 over. Run through a motherfucker face.
I think this journey is the most special because there's not a lot of people that have the opportunity playing in high school and college and then pro and then being injured and starting coaching as a young coach.
We understand what it's about. We understand Raider Nation. We understand Raider love. Since 1966, you guys have been coming to this stadium and you've been rooting this team on the victory. You've seen this team win 3 Super Bowls. You've been here through the ups. You've been here through the downs. But you never waver.
The mental side of the game is taking me to the next level, and it's true confidence. It's feeding your brain elite of elite, and that's I always talk about 1% and more is required. And I always say these things, but it's what I live. I see it everywhere I go because you have to constantly train your mind for greatness.
What's good, Raider Nation? Spicy Raider Girl here with Scotty Waddy Raider 1. We are back with Monday Night Madness. Again, we are talking about Antonio Pierce's first real big decision. I would say his first big decision outside of the draft moves and naming Minshew the starting QB here. What's good, Scotty?
Hey, what's going on? Yeah, that's the big news everybody was waiting on. Who's going to start? What are we going to do? How are we going to do it? And I guess we got our answer.
We got our answer. I know it came with mixed reviews, and this show is for you, everybody. Monday Night Madness. The link to join the show, if you want to be on camera, is in the comments. Click the link, join us, come backstage, and let us know if you think AP made a great decision, a poor decision, or F it, we rolling with it anyway. Remember, light that torch, hit that like button, subscribe, and join to become a member. If you'd like to support the channel, you can also hit the super chat button. And if you're playing with us tonight, Raider Nation, it's season time. There was a game on Saturday. There's an open practice tomorrow. There's another game coming up on Friday. So you got to be in training yourself. So the drinking game alert is Minshew. Every time we say it, you know what to do. Drink if you don't drink. Tote, like Scotty's doing, or if you don't do either one, you better start twerking. You know what I'm saying? Because we're going to say that a lot. We got the hot takes today, of course. Garner Minshew is named QB1. We might talk a little bit about the Raiders versus Cowboys and our takeaway from that abysmal performance. Oh, did I say that? I'm sorry. I digress a little bit. And is it still Battle of the Bay? I don't know. But, Scotty, let's say what's up to the chat before we get into it. We've missed you guys, by the way. We've been gone for about 5 weeks. We're a little hiatus of our own. So we are happy that you decided to come back and join us for this evening. Raider Travis, what's good? Happy Monday morning. Like and share. Thank you. Travis, are you in town? If so, hit me up for tomorrow at the practice. I'm actually going to be doing well, I should say a pre-recorded from the training camp or the open practice tomorrow. So look out for that. Ana Diaz, hey girl, sorry I missed you out there this weekend. If you are around tomorrow, hit me up. Monday evening, same difference. It's been a long day. You know, it's 5 o'clock everywhere. Mother Moon, what's good? Elmatic, peace, what's good? Omar, you gotta come back too. We want Omar, you gotta pop on, dude. We want to hear your optimistic opinion on this decision for sure. Raider Mac, thanks for pulling through.
Isn't it funny how decisions are made? I always think of Omar. I'm always like,
what would Omar say? What would Omar say? Easy, what's good, Raiders? My boy Chris from Protect the Shield. Salute.
What's up, Chris?
He says, great decision, AP. And Chris and I have been on hiatus, the Spicy Shield Talk, for just about as long as this show has. And we'll be making our return next week on Wednesday at 6 o'clock. So Chris and I actually have a difference of opinion on this. So that'll be a good discussion. April, we already know how you feel good. Might have to click that link. Oh, I'm sure.
We're counting on it, April.
We're counting on it. Right. Exactly. It's in the top, Omar. It's linked to the top. It's pinned to the top. Anybody can join because, like I said, all of you are the stars. All right, we'll just get into it. But I'll let you start, Scotty. AP Minshew
Uh,
QB1. What was your first? What's your reaction?
I was a first reaction immediate. If I had to say one word, I was in disbelief. Um, I didn't think it was going to be Minshew. I really didn't. I thought AP had better showings out there. I thought he would go with look, this guy's a career backup, and this guy's trying to learn. I get it. I'm okay with the AOC trying to learn, but I thought he had better numbers and better showings. Game one, he played one drive in essence, in the first, starting the season. It was okay. He drove down the field. I think that pick six might have sealed his fate in the second game. But I was a little bit in shock that they picked Minshew over AOC.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if I'd say I was in shock, but I definitely had a difference of opinion on the decision. If you're watching over on Facebook, please come and join us on YouTube. That's where we can see all of your comments and interaction. Chris says AC will be a career backup. That might be. I kind of see them both in that role, to be honest.
Oh,
All
sure.
right. So here's my thought on it. I was at the game. I was so disappointed in that performance. I lasted, I think, halftime. Maybe not even that long. I think I made it to halftime. I just couldn't bear to watch it anymore. And I know people will say it's preseason, it doesn't matter. I've never thought that. I think preseason is very important. And not only that, the starters played on both sides of the ball the entire first half. Okay, so that's not an excuse for that performance. And I get it. They're shaking the dust off or whatever, but I expect more from our starters. And I'll just kind of leave that alone as the overall recap of that game. But if we want to look further into the performance of Minshew versus OAC, let's just say it's really hard to watch the game, I think, in person at the stadium. So I rewatched the entire game the very next day. And I know Antonio Pierce in his presser said that his decision was not based off of that game. And how could it be? How could it be? Because the performance was abysmal, I thought, by Minshew. So it can't be based off that. He must be seeing something we're not seeing in practice, right? He must be seeing something in practice that we're not seeing on the field, I mean.
Totally.
But the first thing I noticed when AOC went in, the zing behind the ball. The strength behind the ball, the accuracy behind the ball, the poise in the pocket, the confidence. I didn't see any of that for Minshew. I saw he ran scared, and they're trying to say that the announcers are trying to say, well, that's what he does best. The accuracy was terrible. He was thrown to the side of the defenders. He was missing guys that were wide open. He was so obviously it was not made from that game. There's no way it could be.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you on what you just said. I think that there was one thing that we just don't know about that's not obviously glaring out at us that made the decision. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really tough. It's really tough to try to figure out. At the end of the day, I'm not going to try to figure it out. It is what it is. I want W's. I don't care if Mickey Mouse is in there. I couldn't care less. I want W's. Period. I want to get at least into the playoffs, at least, and I don't want to lose the first game. That's just bottom line.
Yeah. So I'll circle back. We do have somebody backstage we're going to get to in just a minute here, but I just kind of want to circle back to the overall issue. And I've said this over and over again for years. It's the consistency in this organization, because we should not even be in this predicament. We're going to ride with Minshew. We're going to ride with AOC. And I think Minshew's going to have a short leash. AOC could be started by week 2, 3, 4, or maybe not at all. We don't know yet. But I don't think this is a permanent decision.
I don't either.
We should not, unfortunately, with the great defense that we have with these offensive weapons, we shouldn't be in the position where we're trying to decide which backup quarterback should start for our team.
Right.
And it goes back to the organization and consistency, because this mess goes all the way back to the mismanagement of the coaching staff, because of the coaching staff from McDaniels. He ends up benching Carr. He ends up trading Carr, whether you like Carr or not. That's not what this is about. But then he brings in Garoppolo. All of a sudden, McDaniels gets fired. New interim coach comes in. He doesn't want Garoppolo. He benches him. Then he rides with OAC. Then we have a new GM who comes in the offseason to go out and get Minshew. And now the decision's on the coach that is in his first year to make a decision on which one of these quarterbacks to start. So this is like a trail of mess that has been left from poor decision making going back from a season and a half ago.
Sure. Now, I didn't look at it the way that you just summarized it, but you're spot on. It's a roller coaster ride, and here we are still. Again, like I said, can I go back to draft day when everybody said, "No, Scotty, don't bet the farm on a quarterback." You know what? I bet you a few people would have liked to bet the farm on a quarterback after Saturday's game, because I'll tell you, Trey Lance was out there at one point. He wasn't not in the draft, but as a trade. And Trey Lance looked pretty damn good, if you ask me. I thought he looked decent. I'm like, man, I wish we had him. Take him right now. That's for damn sure. It's hard. It's hard because I don't want to. All right, we got a backstage person.
We got somebody backstage. We are going to bring him in. He's one of our own. We've missed him as well. He hasn't been on in a while because we've been on a hiatus. But Omar, welcome to the show, my friend, my brother. How are you?
Oh, man. What's up, Omar?
Man. And I was
Omar, we said our piece. I'm gonna let you ride because I know you're gonna spin this in the best way possible.
The floor is yours, Omar. We've been waiting on it.
I mean, you know what, y'all? And I had to pull up, too. It's 9 p.m. where I am, and I'm like, man, you know what? I got to pull up tonight because, I wasn't able to watch the game Saturday. I was doing some other things, and I just saw my timeline blow up. My boys were texting me. I mean, it was like people were in panic mode looking at these quarterbacks. I was looking at something like I finally got to watch the game, and I still have only watched the first half. But what was more alarming to me was our offensive line, no running game. I mean, I saw that as a bigger deficit because I'm like, without that, how many quarterbacks would actually even do well? And that's what my biggest feeling was, is that, you know what? And then I looked at the decision Sunday morning. I said, well, you know what? It was probably that pick. I read two. The worst things I read that AOC did was stare down a receiver, throw a pick. And I thought, you know what? If you're looking at a line that's not going to be healthy, and then you got a guy who will do that, throw a pick, but you got a guy who is a little bit mobile, that I think that may have played into Minshew getting the nod right now. I don't feel good about my whole thought going into this is that Minshew would have to just downright beat down AOC in this quarterback competition where here's AOC and then here's Minshew. And we all know that didn't happen. They were tied. And in my mind, I'm like, shit, the tie should just go to the younger incumbent. Let the second year guy grow then if Minshew didn't beat him down. But, here we are. I'm a little worried, like I said, because we got, Zeus needs a line. I'm a little worried. I'm still optimistic, though. Don't get me wrong.
Okay, but if Omar's at the point of worried, it's in trouble. Optimistic Omar's worried, we're in trouble.
I'm more worried because I did not think. I mean, without Colton Miller, and then, we even JBJ was supposed to be, the starting left guard, I believe. The line did not look good. I heard great things about DJ Glaze. I finally had a chance to watch him. I'm like, okay. I guess the only reason why I'm worried is it just looks like it's going to take a few more games of fine tuning. And unfortunately, this is going to run into the regular season. You know what I mean? We need Colton Miller back like air.
Well, and they had already announced that they're not starting any of the starters in the next game, so it's for sure running into the regular season. And the first 2 games are tough. You've got the Chargers and you've got the Ravens.
Oh yeah, on the road,
and especially the Ravens, both on the road. Ravens travel across the country. You've got a really good team in them, and then they come back obviously to a home opener in Carolina. Thank goodness, with a team they should beat, but still, that's a rough 2 weeks.
Well, and then I was tripping because I saw our starting defense get ran on, and I'm like, well, maybe they're playing around with some things because our meat and potatoes are supposed to be that defense, and to get ran on like we did by, I think, a backup running back Dallas was running. I don't think that Dallas was running their starting running back. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but that to me, like I say, everybody was talking quarterbacks, and I was like, man, why is my defense getting ran on like that?
No, and that's a great point, because that's, I said that opening the show where I put something, I put a post out there about, I'm shocked by this, and preseason, they're playing their second, third stringers. I'm not even going to battle with that person because clearly they didn't even watch the game, because the starting offense and defense played the entirety of the first half.
Yeah, and that D line, it's supposed to be our strength. We brought in Wilkins.
There you go.
And we're thinking, hey, with Wilkins, and here we go, guys. If our starters going into the fourth quarter are going to kill people, I have no doubt about that, because that's when Max is just, his ears are pent back and he's wearing everybody out. I see a whole different thing, but fresh bodies should not be running on us like that. So I hope that was them playing around with some new things. Like, hey, here's some last minute stuff we might try to do. And that's me being optimistic, because you can't just, you can't get ran on. I mean, because if you do
let me ask this. Could it be, and this is my optimistic side talking right now, could it be that we just didn't want to show what we had?
I'm hoping. Or just trying new shit. Say, we want to try that play. Didn't work.
Yeah, more with Omar. Yeah, I'll go with that a little bit.
No, and I think that's okay. Hey,
I think that's okay too. If that was going on, maybe they were just trying something new. The thing that I think concerned me the most about Minshew, and by the way, if you're playing our drinking game, you know what to do. The arm strength and the accuracy. I feel like Davante Adams is going to be wasted, because if how many receivers had to wait for a pass, they couldn't even catch and run for the first down, because they either had to wait for it or they have to go back for it. And if you're going to get somebody like Davante Adams who's going to trailblaze down that field, Minshew's not going to be able to throw it to him with that arm strength. There's just no way. So I feel like Davante Adams' talent is going to be wasted in that aspect.
Again, were we showing everything we had? Because we didn't look like the players that we were.
You're not arm strength is something you're not going to hide. Like, if you can throw the ball to a player, I don't think you're going to underthrow him, especially when you're trying to earn a job.
Yeah.
I don't know. And again, that might be my optimistic side, trying to say, hey, man, look.
To me, this is my Devontae.
Hold on. There's optimism and there's delusion.
But this is why Devontae should play. I know they're getting lots of playing time. I think they're like, we got about 1,200 reps to look at between training camp and, all the off-season stuff. But, I mean, in a real-life game, this could play into our slow start. You know what I mean? The O-line, like you're saying. I mean, even arm strength, without it being a question, let's just say he does, but what about that symmetry between the two? You know what I mean? Those timings and things like that. We saw a pretty deep route. What was that? Was that Turner that Minshew threw? He thought it was coming inside, but it went outside. Mm-hmm. It's going to be shit like that even if he does get the deep ball and got the guy open and the ball was just in a different position. I was listening to the commentator saying he didn't turn his head quick enough to kind of see which way the ball was going. No. Regardless, having people on the same page, you don't have to think as much when you and your guy has had enough time together. So I know I know he's a.
And it's things like that. It's things like that, Omar, that make me think, I don't think we were. I don't think we were showing. I thought we were hiding. I was like, how can they be that far off timing? How can they be that? Nah, it just didn't make the game didn't make sense to me. It just didn't make sense. Again, I don't think I'm that delusional. I am being optimistic, but somewhere in between there, I think there's. I don't know. We just didn't.
It wasn't clicking for sure, whatever the reason.
It wasn't quick.
Watts Raider, if you're able to join, anyone can join, by the way. We want all of you to join. The link is up top, and we'll put the call-in number here in a minute. But you have a lot of great comments. They're coming in rapid fire, so thank you all for commenting. It's hard to get to them all, but if you want to join, it might be easier for us to respond to some of these if you want to join with us on camera.
Yeah, Watts Raider, what's up, my brother? I see you out there, and I know you got a lot of good stuff to say. I'm always on to your show too, so yeah, he's great. He knows his stuff. Jump on in, man.
Let's try to read through some of these comments here because we do want to give you all some love and attention. That's what this show's about. This show's about all of you. Sinister Raider says Tyree had 4.5 sacks as a rookie, not bad. He was slow off the line and has put a lot of work in. This season will tell what he has to contribute. Did I see the Raiders did some move with him today or something? What is that? Tell me about that. I saw it quickly.
Tyree? I didn't see anything about
Something's
Tyree.
going on. What's up to Rick? Join us as well. He says, think we covered the QB situation after the draft, built the trenches with the depth, and a QB will be found, hopefully. Yeah, this has obviously been an ongoing discussion, and we've been kind of waiting for this outcome for a very long time. And now that it's here, I think we're going to have our reaction either way. What do we do moving forward though, right? Because let's be honest. I don't think either one of these guys are the solution. We got to do best with what we have, but moving forward, it has to improve, right? I mean, the draft cleared out a lot of good quarterbacks last season. Where do you go from here? Where do we go from here, quarterback wise? Like, is somebody in the headquarters right now on the phone?
Can I address this exactly?
For this season?
Can I address this particular thing? Because I got jumped on a lot last draft about I was saying no, go trade whatever you got to trade and get the quarterback that we need. Okay, there was a lot of commentary towards that, but here's the problem with it. This year, let's say we're an average team. Guess what? We're in the same position, picking at 13, 14.
Yep.
And we still don't have a damn quarterback. When are we gonna get him? We're going to have to give up something or we're going to have to tank something. It's one or the other. So why aren't we going out to get the guy that we want? It is what it is. You put out there on the line what you got to put out there and let it be what it is. I'm going to stand on that one.
Omar, do you have a response? I see you thinking, man. I see it.
Well, I don't have a response. I just think from here, we're going to play ball. You know what I mean? I don't think we're gonna, lose any games purposely. I think we're gonna. I think it's way too much fighting these guys. I think we're just gonna. I do think our play is gonna get better. Like I say, from what I've seen, the biggest thing that stood out to me wasn't Minshew and AOC. It really was.
That's what I'm saying, Omar. If our play gets better, that puts us in a worse position to get the quarterback that we need.
I mean.
We gotta go hard though. I know. I certainly my mindset's not thinking jockeying for position for quarterback. Right. I mean, at the end of the day,
if you're that good, because here we go. If you're that good with the quarterbacks you got, where you're picking in the 20s,
I'm never going to agree with Tank. I'm never going to agree.
Right.
But I do have to side with you got to give up what you got to give up to get in the position to get the quarterback. I'm never going to agree with Tanky. Fuck that. Yeah. Sorry. But no, never. But I'm saying it's one or the other, though. Either we have a shitty season or we keep being average and we keep getting average quarterback play. So at what point does this end? Something's got to give.
Well, I mean, I'm concerned, but I'm not giving up on the season.
Yeah, I don't think Devontae Adams is not going to give up. Matt Max is not going to give up.
I might concede a slow start, which is where my worry is, and that, like I said, I think that has a lot to do with the left side of the line and the run game. I think new offenses, a lot of times, no matter what, quarterbacks kind of, may have a slower start. Of course, we don't want that. We want them to be able to jump in and like night and day, just be on, have everything clicking. But we know that it's not going to happen. But with all the weapons we have on offense, I mean, to me, it is the line and the run game that is the only concern right now. To me, I think Minshew will be all right. I think he wouldn't. I think we can win with him.
Let me pose this question, guys, because really, the Raiders, any team could really just barely get into that playoff in a wild card spot with a 500 record. I mean, I guess you can't really go 500 anymore with the 17, but basically with a 500 record. So let me ask you this: the defense has improved, right? I think we can agree on that. The offense, I think, has improved. At least the weapons, maybe not the line. So and we still have this the same, if not a better quarterback, I suppose. In AP's eyes, Minshew's better than AOC because he's starting him. So a better quarterback from their standpoint. So on paper, they're a better team. So if they went 8-9 last year, they could only do better in theory, right?
In theory.
Yep.
And if they even swap it 1 and it's 9-8, right on the cusp of making the playoffs. Is that realistic? Will that happen? I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
All right. If these guys click and we get this line together, we can win the division. I said that before. You know what I mean? I was a lot more optimistic from, like I say, what I've seen has some concerns, so I'm a little hesitant, but we can still win the division. It's just, hey, how's this offensive line going to do? And are we going to get the running game? Because trust me, you will see a different Minshew. Hell, I think you would even saw a different AOC if the line was holding up in our run and we were running the ball effectively. But the fact that we really weren't, just, hey, they knew that we were going to pass it. And we know what happens when you look a little one-dimensional and your line is banged up. I mean, that's what you see. That turns a lot of good quarterbacks into bad quarterbacks. So
Can I just want to pivot right here because I think this is actually a great talking point from David King Raiders. Because remember, AP made the decision to bench Garoppolo and start AOC, which I actually disagree with. I think they should have rode with them, especially with the amount they paid him. So this is an interesting thought. Is Garner Minshew better than Jimmy Garoppolo? So I think that's interesting because the way that AP, have we seen him made his decisions, AP's got Minshew, AOC, and then Garoppolo. And I don't know. I don't see what they see. I'm not at the practices. I hear Garoppolo struggling over at the Rams camp right now. But that's kind of an interesting point.
Well, number one, let's just go with the big obvious elephant in the room when you compare Minshew against Garoppolo. How often is Minshew injured and hurt? Garoppolo is a lot. And your availability is everything.
Sure, but when he was available, they still didn't start him. I mean, he was available the last 7 games, and they didn't play him at all.
Yeah, I mean, and then, like I say, I think AP likes tough quarterbacks. I think that, so you give somebody that's injury prone, and you got a guy like AP looking at him, I don't think he sees them in the light. First thing I remember him saying about AOC is that when he was getting banged around and everything, he said, I looked him in the eyes and dude was okay. And he loved him. He did.
Here's the thing that's trivial to me. So when people talk about AOC, what they say is he can't move in the pocket. Okay. That's the main thing everybody says. When people talk about Minshew, they tell the positives of what he does. He can scramble, he can make plays. That's the difference between when you talk about both. But when you look at what AOC did with AP, that was pretty damn good if you talk about a guy who was never in the plans to play last season. That's pretty damn good.
Right.
If you ask me. But then you bring Garner Minshew in and all you say is, oh, well, he can scramble. This is what's really trivial to me because why is it that when you talk about AOC, you talk about what's bad? When you talk about Garner Minshew, you talk about the few things that are good. That's very trivial to me. And
I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
And furthermore, I don't want my quarterback to excel only when things break down.
Exactly.
That's not a positive thing to me.
Exactly.
I want my quarterback to be able to have the options. Of course, if they're in a bind and he needs to make things happen, that's great. But that shouldn't be the norm every time, and that's not what we should be comfortable with.
Yeah, and I've said this about that team with red and yellow. I've said this about them. I'm like, is Andy Reid really that good of a coach? Because this dude is scrambling every damn play. I'm like, is every play breaking apart, and this dude's got to make something out of nothing? I'm not taking any credit away from him. That's fine, but how is it that you got to scramble every damn play? That shouldn't be, in my opinion. You should be able to sit in the pocket and get the pass off, unless it's a design play to do something different. But if you got to scramble out of the pocket that many times, that means your play is breaking down that many times.
All right, that's a good point. We have somebody backstage. Omar, of course, you are welcome to stay as long as you want, but we are going to bring on our next guest. There's a couple people back there, so please bear with us. Please be patient, but we're going to bring you in one at a time. We have Rick all the way from Hawaii. Aloha.
What's up, Rick?
Hey.
Welcome to the show. So what was your reaction? What was your first reaction when you heard Minshew as QB1?
How y'all doing?
Good.
Good.
Thank you for inviting me.
So, Rick, what was your reaction when you heard Minshew as QB1?
The first thing that came to my mind was Lil Ass Boy. I texted a few. Hey, Lil Ass Boy got the nod.
Fair enough.
Man, I just I gotta go with it. I mean, that's the coach who trusted. I think DA just posted on his IG account him walking his stride, like him and the coach AP were on the same page.
Rick, we're actually gonna bring someone out. If you can come back, your audio is really low. It's hard to hear you. So come back and join us if you can. All right, we are gonna bring in our friend who just goes by OAC baby. You know how she feels about this. Her boy did not get QB1. What's good, lady? Thank you.
Hi.
Welcome to the show. We already know your feelings. You want an AOC, but we're still all Raiders. We got to root for Minshew. How are you feeling now after you've kind of gotten to let it sink in for 24 hours or so?
Well, do I think it's going to change? Yeah. I mean, I think AP has somebody in his ear, Mark M. Davis. I don't think this was solely AP's decision because all he did all season was talk about AOC. I watched the first preseason game. They didn't even really play Aiden. I mean, Garner was in there, but I think, I don't know. I'm not happy about this decision, but what can you do? Yeah, it's Raider Nation for life, so you kind of got to roll with it. But I don't understand what's going on at all. I watched the first preseason game and I'm like, yikes. Where's this defense that's supposed to be like unstoppable? They look like the same Raiders from last year. They don't look like anything's changed. And then I told myself, well, it's preseason, whatever. But as far as the quarterback situation, there's really not much difference in like completions. The only thing is that Minshew had a couple touchdowns and AOC had a pick six. So I don't know if that's the decision that AP went on. I don't know if this is the same Raiders organization that's just like, oh, we're freaking out. Let's just go with, we'll go with this one. I don't know.
Well, AP did say it wasn't based off of the last game. And like I started the show saying, I don't know how it could be because Minshew played so terribly. But I did find this interesting, to your point, April, about who's making the decisions. Because if you watched AP's press conference, it did kind of sound like he was a little unsure of the decision, to be honest. He was like, it wasn't based on the last game. Like, how could it be, right? And then he went on to say, like, and this is a decision that everyone in the organization is good with. So the way he delivered it did seem like it was a little underconfident or a little apprehensive. I thought.
I'm mind boggled by it all. I'm just like, wow, okay. Well, I mean, we got to go with it. but game one with Minshew, I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I want to win, but I just don't know. I think Aiden is a better quarterback than Minshew. Like I was listening to y'all, like Spicy, you said Minshew can't throw the ball. He can't. I was watching some practices where number 12 was throwing it down the field to Adams. I mean, like when I say down the field, I mean like down the field. So I don't understand what is going on. I don't know if they're just worried about a quarterback who's a little bit more mobile. But they're looking kind of stale to me, the Raiders right now. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Did you say stale?
Yep.
Yeah, that's actually.
That's pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Stale.
Pretty spot on.
Stale.
Yeah.
I sat here. I think I watched 5 minutes of that Dallas game and decided that I was just going to get drunk and just pass out because I was like, this is terrible. This is absolute terrible. I said, this is why I don't really want to watch preseason games, but I did want to watch preseason because I knew there was going to be a quarterback, but I wasn't impressed with, to be honest with you, I love AOC, but I wasn't impressed with either one of them. And I don't know what is going on. I just don't know what's going on.
I think it was kind of in Minshew's favor a little bit. I think Watts Raider was saying, he said Getsy's in charge of the QBs. He's the OC. His system was made, for a mobile quarterback. He had been talking about that since he came in. So I think that kind of put AOC a little bit behind the 8 ball a bit. And then, like I say, everything they saw behind this, and all the practices and everything more than likely played into it. And if you take into consideration how that line looked, AOC would just get killed. You know what I mean?
I think April's making a good point that somebody else was in his ear. Then I hadn't thought about that. But I think you're making a good point on that because AP has been riding with the AOC. And it's just like,
I'm telling you right now.
If you think about
and Devontae,
it's Mark Davis
like
plot twist. Oh, AOC, he didn't score a touchdown, or he didn't do this. You know what? This is the way I see. I'm not on the field. I'm not there. But when I see it, I'm like, this is Mark Davis making typical Mark Davis moves. Oh, let's go with the quarterback who scored us a couple touchdowns. This is what he does. This is typical. So
we'll see. I wonder though, April, if it's actually Mark Davis, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. I'm not disagreeing that it's somebody, but I think it's not Mark Davis because AP has brought in a lot of advisors, and maybe it's somebody else. And it seems like at least we've talked about this, that Mark Davis has kind of taken a step back and let the professionals do what the professionals do. So while I agree with you,
he's the defensive guy.
Yeah,
so well, I definitely listen to Luke Getsy.
Right. So I think it might be somebody else, but I think you're right that somebody is bending his ear. I think you're right.
I agree. I think it's somebody or a collective group of people, but I actually don't think Mark Davis makes those sort of decisions.
Right.
Yeah, it ain't Mark.
No, I get it. After
Luke
the whole
Getsy, if anything, it's the GM who may be backing Getsy, like, hey, and you got to think too. I remember AP saying this is why he's bringing in Guy. He got his guy for offense. I don't think he's going to overrule Getsy. I just don't think he would, unless there were just something so overwhelmingly strong that he would say, you know what I mean, have to say anything. But I think he would let Getsy have. I think Getsy has probably 70% of the say on what's going on offense.
AP has shown us that he's willing to let that he doesn't have to be that guy. Yep. That he's willing to listen and he's humble enough to listen. He's shown us that. So what April's point I think is right. I just don't think it's Mark Davis, but I think it's right. Somebody's bending his ear.
Well, I just and statistically speaking, like I was like looking at the numbers and I'm like, wait a second. So Minshew's he's 6 for 12 for 115 yards. Yeah, he's got the touchdowns, but Aiden is accurate with 7 for 9. I'm like, so I'm confused in what they're seeing out there. I don't see it, and I think our O-line is not good. Our secondary. Oh, don't get me started on the secondary because it's the same shit. Sorry, it's the same. It's the same. I'm like, where is our defense? Because I was pumped. I was ready. I was like, oh, Raiders. Against the Vikings, let's go. We lost to them by 3 last year. I'm like, this preseason we're gonna kill them, and we looked like just trash. We were, like I said, stale. I'm like, ugh. don't even know if I want to watch this last game. I just
Well,
don't.
April, if you heard me earlier, what do you think about what I said when I said, "Hey, is it that we're that bad, or we're just trying not to show what we got?"
It's possible, but I mean, like, like, I don't condone any kind of injury. I don't like that, but this whole JJ McCarthy thing, like, wow, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, we put our starters out there and they do all this stuff. They could be out just like JJ McCarthy. So I'm like, I don't know if maybe they're holding back and they just don't want to play as hard. I know preseason really doesn't count, but like Raider Nation is ready to see this like top seeded defense, and I'm tired of listening to analysts saying, "Oh, the Raiders are like 32," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." So we're just making assumptions on what, So I don't know. I don't
Well,
know.
let's not forget also though that the remember when we had talked about the betting odds that Vegas was putting out there were based on Gardner Minshew being the quarterback.
The quarterback, yep.
Remember that? So
I'm not
there's
in
that
Minshew.
also.
I'm not. Wait, hold on. I'm not in Minshew mania at all, in any way, shape,
And
or
let's
form.
see if that sticks. I actually want to go check. I want to go check and see what the number is at now in terms of the win-loss.
I mean, I hope he can pull it through. I mean, it's a home opener against an AFC West rival. I just don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I think though, like what happened last year with the whole Garoppolo thing, and then them putting AOC in, I think we're going to have the same nonsense this coming season. Unfortunately, I really do. I don't see Minshew staying the starter for 17 games.
Yeah,
I just don't see it.
That's 2BD for sure. Well, we do have someone backstage. April, any last thoughts before we let you go?
Raider Nation for life.
Hey, Raider Nation for life. I love it. Thanks for joining us, girl. We appreciate you. Bye. All right, we got Raider Squid in the building. Raider Squid, what is good? You always have a good take on things. What was your reaction?
What's up,
What's
Squid?
going on? So I want to touch
going
real quick
on?
on what Scotty said with the defense. I'm 100% with you. I don't think we're showing anything. It's preseason. We're not going to go out there and show who we are, what we really. To me, especially the little bit that I was able to see, we just our guys going out there and playing. There was no scheme. There is no. You're not really watching tape. It's the preseason. Like, I guess I'm just not concerned about it. Knowing who we have on defense, and I mean it's Max and Wilkins. I'm not worried about it. Jack Jones showed glimpses of it. Like
Jack Jones,
exactly.
Spillane.
Like
He's high strung though.
He can't even help.
can't
He
hold back.
can't even help
Can't
himself,
hold
man.
back.
yeah.
Always going for it.
Like, but I like that. I like that. Like,
I like the energy, yeah.
The energy, exactly. The always Max Crosby, Wilkinson, high energy, just 100% no matter what, preseason or regular. Which Hiller back, like even with Max, what's his face? Our Hall of Fame defensive end. Oh my God, I'm blanking on his name.
Crosby.
Huh?
Max Crosby?
No, our Hall of Fame defensive end. White dude, analyst now. His son's played.
Oh, Howie.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
Howie.
talking about in the past. I'm like,
Yeah,
who
my
on the
bad.
team? I thought you were
No,
hypothetically
my bad.
saying
No,
a
no.
Hall of
We already
Famer.
crowned Crosby as a Hall
Yeah.
of Famer.
Yeah.
I mean,
An actual Hall of
I love
Famer.
it. But I was saying
Howie
that
told
was
Max he needs to chill and take some plays off.
Yeah.
Like, I love Max's energy, but
Well,
for the long haul.
the other thing on what you're saying there, Squid, also is it was noted that Max Crosby was told to get off the field so they could be able to run their plays on offense.
Right.
So you're telling me that Max was showing everything? That just seems to be in my mind. Again, I could be somewhere between optimistic and delusional. That's fine. You can pull me any way you want, but it just seemed like that just didn't seem real. That just wasn't. Who is this? Like, what was? This? It just didn't seem like it to me.
And that's the defense. I'm not concerned. Knowing what we produce at the end of the year, same core guys, and only got better.
Right.
Like
Well,
another
I'll
year
agree
under.
with that. I'll agree with that with the defensive aspect. But I can't. I don't think Minshew is holding back on what he was trying to show to earn a job with underthrowing or his inaccuracy.
And that's scary. And that's go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, then that's what's scary, and I think that's why everything I've heard. That's what Minshew's known for. Minshew has been known to throw hospital balls, as they call them, like a dangerous plays where Devontae will light his ass up if he does that to him. It's not going to go well for Minshew. Like, hey, bro,
Right.
I got gold jackets in my future. I can't be getting killed over here for your mistakes.
Right.
Devontae's going to do his part. And he's only making the receivers better. Trey Tucker talked about it, and we've already seen it. Trey Tucker's going to be a dangerous – he's our third receiver. Like, so –
And Devontae signed off on AOC also. So
he
that's
did.
the thing
Yeah, that's interesting, right? That's an interesting talking point.
I'm curious as to how much – so big on words, and AP said a quarter of the season. If you look at our first 4 games, the Chargers, good defense. I think 3 of the 4 that we play have good defenses. Chargers, Ravens, the Browns, and then, okay, cool, the Panthers should be an easy. But then again, it's us, so you never know. That doesn't exist. Potentially 3 really good defenses. Like, you're talking really good. Baltimore and fucking Cleveland, and then Bosa never plays, so whatever. But Mac hasn't let down. Say what you want. Mac's a monster on the field. He's killed us in the past. So maybe the veteran presence of not throwing in the young kid against those defenses. I really want Minshew to finish the season. Because if Minshew finishes the season, we might be going to those playoffs. Like, I'm going to be that guy that says, fuck it. I've always said it. I don't care who's out there. I just want to win. And if it's Joe Smo on the street corner winning us games, that's the fan that I am. Do I personally wish it would have been AOC and he would have shaved more? Yeah, I'll admit it. I wish I was rooting for AOC. But if it's Minshew, okay, cool. Go out and win games.
The funny thing is, the champ has to lose his belt, right? If you're in boxing and it's a tie or a draw, the champ keeps his belt. I don't understand what was that definitive for AOC not to keep his job. I don't see.
I think it goes back to April's point. Honestly, I think it wasn't solely an AP decision because AP's been riding for him since, like I said, when they could have put Garoppolo back in last season. He's been riding with him.
When he took over the reins, he was like, it's AOC, period, point blank. It's AOC. And he went over the veteran who was healthy, at least for those 5 minutes.
Here's the thing. When I saw it, I went straight for the press conference because I was literally like, I need to know why. Why was this decision made? Because I don't know what they know. I don't see what they see. I'm not in the meeting. I'm not in the quarterback's room. I'm not at the practice. So what are they seeing different than the only thing I can see is what I see in the game? Right? So I'm like, I need to know why. And when I went to AP's conference, I don't think we were really given the reason, as a confident reason as to why he, and solely he, made the decision for Minshew over AOC. Like I said, it was the way he gave it. It didn't seem confident. And then he kind of like covered his ass, if you will, and said, and we all decided or agreed, excuse me, I think he said, and everyone's behind us, or everyone in the building's behind us, or something like that.
Yeah, it's a little funny to me. It's a little funny. There's a reason, we just don't know it yet.
I think we do. I think Getsy's system, we knew from the back they wanted a mobile quarterback. I think AOC was against the gun in that note. But I like I said earlier, though, I thought Minshew would have had to play really, really well to beat AOC. I just think, like I say, especially you look at what's going on with the line, I think more mobile. I think that, like I said, that all leaned in Minshew's favor. I do think it was close. I think it was as close as we all saw. We heard that they were both playing bad in training camp.
Yeah.
I think those 1,200 snaps didn't have a lot of great snaps from them. And, Minshew gets the nod. I mean, it's like, I think if we get the line together and we get a running game, Minshew will do fine. I think we will do fine. We'll compete for this division, What'd you say, Squid?
Oh, he just went on mute.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he's back. He's back. Go ahead, Squid.
That's the only reason that makes sense, Omar. Honestly, out of everything that I've heard about, listen to the press conferences, analysts, us fans talking, and that's the only logical explanation that I've heard is it's a system thing. It has to be that, because I think all of us weren't shocked. I don't think I read anything where all of us thought AOC.
Yeah, I think we all thought that if he didn't get beat like obviously beat by Minshew that it would go to the incumbent. And I was shocked. I was like, okay. And then I started grabbing for rationale. Well, remember the system.
No, and Omar, I think that's a good that's great. I'm glad you brought up that point because I think you're spot on. But then that also goes back to my point of the inconsistency of who's running the team, who's building the team, and who's calling the plays. And as the Raiders have somebody different every single year. And I just think like we need to get consistency. And to Squid's point, I do want to see Minshew finish the season for that reason. I don't want to see us come at it in the middle of the season, fire AP, bench Minshew, and da 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 da, and like we did last year was ridiculous out there. Fire this guy and bench that guy, and it's like it's exhausting. And again, we don't really know what's going on there. But at the end of the day, I just want to see consistency. So I'm rooting for Minshew to finish strong. I'm rooting for AP to finish strong. And I'm rooting for at least a 500 season. And I hope that we can just like, even if we're going to be bummed about the outcome of some of these games, we're not out there protesting to fire and bench everybody.
Right.
Well, I think that McDaniels was an exception to the rule. I mean, he was just fucking horrible. I mean, nobody was yelling "fire Gruden." Nobody was yelling that. So McDaniels was kind of an exception to that rule. He was horrible.
We just don't know that word consistency, though, and that's the thing.
Well, yeah,
that's not something we've had. Like,
Absolutely.
period. It's not a known word in Raider fan vocabulary. We're so used to the scramble and the like. Cool, AP, all the culture shit. Cool, that's nice and all. Show it on the field, and that's ultimately what it comes down to. Like, as much as we like AP and all this culture change, which I get it, it's a huge part of who we are and what the Raiders are. It's a business and it's about winning, especially in Vegas.
Can I touch on that, Squid? Because I actually wasn't going to bring it up, but since you did, that's the thing. You even use the word change, a culture change, which is a little bit, it's not on you, but that annoys me because it shouldn't have ever changed to begin with, to the fact that we have to bring a hoorah guy to change it back. You know what I mean? So now we're behind this guy. A lot of the reason is because we like the vibe, the culture, the how he carries himself, how he has the locker room and that sort of thing. And I feel like the Raiders tried so hard to get away from that. And now they're like almost overcorrecting and trying to bring it back. So it's like we shouldn't even be in this position where we're like getting behind head coaches because we want our culture back.
And culture rejuvenation, maybe? But you're starting to see it with Houston, with Detroit, those player coaches. But at the same time, Max has talked about it. Watch this fucking The Rush podcast, and he says like he'll light into you. AP will absolutely. And it's not personal; it's business. Like he'll light into players, but you respect that person and the man more when he's able to have that relationship where you trust him. And if you fuck up, okay, cool, so be it. A player's coach doesn't mean a fucking soft, bendy. Sorry, I don't know who watched soccer, but Greg, for the soccer fans, the Greg Bullharters, where all the young kids liked him, but he was a little just soft, and the players didn't respect him. That's what it was. I know, completely off topic, but that type of coach, Scotty, you laughing because I think you know what I'm talking about. Like, and that's not what we need. Like, I just want to win. I'm tired. It's 20 plus years. Like, you have fucking Max Crosby giving it all, Devontae Wilkins, Jack Jones, like those core pieces, other than quarterback, are there.
You have players putting their careers on the line for the Raiders. You think we're faithful? Devontae Adams, Max Crosby, that's faithful.
Yeah.
Because
and
those teams, those guys can raise their hand and say, I'd like to go to that team, and they will get them.
And you know what? I want Max to be a Raider for life. I think he's great for us as Raiders fans. He knows the culture. He grinds. He's legit. I think he likes being in Vegas. I hope he stays for forever. Like, that guy was born to be a Raider. But to your point, if he does raise that hand, I'm not going to be mad at him because he's too talented for this nonsense, to be honest. He's too talented to put up with this inconsistent organization that can't figure it out.
Yeah, but I 100% agree with you, Spicy. And everybody was mad at Josh Jacobs. I ain't mad at him.
I'm not everybody. I'm not everybody.
Well, you know what I meant. You know what I meant.
It's not personal. Exactly.
Right.
If Devontae leaves in the middle of the season because we're trash, hey, go win yourself a ring.
Hey,
You deserve it. Like you have nothing to prove to us. Like
and if you're not here trying to get a ring because
yeah,
that's what the ultimate goal is, then we don't want you either.
Devontae came back and played injured. Like there's no promise. You were trash in the middle of the season. Devontae says, "I want out," and he gets his way. Go out and compete for a ring. Good on Devontae. Like that's nothing at all. No hard feelings. Like this shit.
Agreed.
Don't
And
deserve that.
we don't need to say that we want him. It's a fact, but I can't be mad at him.
Yeah. Well, Squid, thank you so much.
Yep.
We have 6 minutes. We are going to let one last person come and join the madness. We always thank you for your opinion and your thoughts. And we are going to wrap here. We have our friend Raph behind the scenes, and we're going to bring him in. We got 5 minutes left, so we're going to let you take the stage. Welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody. Raph in the building. So I know it's gonna be 5 minutes, but well, after that I just saw for Raiders versus Cowboys, I know the people that just won Gardner Minshew as a starting back, and I know that it just feel like it doesn't matter who the starter because they're not trying to judge about for the decision based on a handful of drives, but they just see it for the preseason, which is like 2 games. Because I know the defense it worked like very good, but they had to a lot of improvement about for the time management, the wide receivers, everything. Because I know it's the preseason, but I mean, but if they're calling out for like Devontae Adams, Brock Bowers, I mean, let's just have it like a lot of confidence because I know their plays like really tight, but I do like to think about for the offense, they were like a little bit better because they actually run the football, but when it comes to regular season, because they they just have a much of game reps when they come for the preseason because you have seen more gadget plays like Brock Bowers, Adams, Myers, Mayer on the field, but it just seems like it's not gonna be like an offense. But if they even show up for the DB of most games, I mean, they look shoot better in the regular season. I mean, just having like a true gleam playing week with no gleam, but they're playing for the season. I mean, there's no problem about the main shoot. I mean, I'm kind of like really shocked because he's just really amazed right now because for the performance between for like the long play along with Torrent and everything. I mean, this is like it's not a consolation because I really think that when it comes to the scheme of Luke Getsy, they have like a really defense to lean on.
It's fair. It's a fair point. It's a fair point. I have no argument with that.
He always makes good points, I think. That's why I just sit back and listen.
Hey, Ralph, I got a question for you. The last time that we talked, I wanted to ask you something, and you went off too fast. What games are you going to? Because I want to go to the game with you.
Yeah, because right now it could be like at a more than a post birthday buys because I just wanted to see like between for 2 games. I mean, there's 2 games, which is Raiders versus Rams, also Raiders versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's one of those 2 games that I would love to go and see like the vibe of the Raider fans because right now I just wanted to see like a just like 2 games. That would be like my greatest birthday present, even though my birthday was on August 9th. So that would be like the perfect.
Well, happy birthday. And we
Happy
might have to hook
belated.
up because I am eyeballing that Tampa Bay game. I haven't been to Tampa Bay. My boy wants to go, so we might hook up at that game. But I'd love to hang out and do Raider shit with you.
Okay. Okay. So I have no problem and issues with that because I know that after all for the preseason, I mean, there's nothing wrong about it. I mean, let's just play our defense where they call for decent because let's not forget about it because they just wanted to show and up. They just wanted to feel involved because it's not gonna be like an emotional because they just have like a lot of feelings that are the call for expectations. And I notice some expectations are gonna be high or low. But if they want to start with Gardner Minshew, I have no issues with that. But we need to focus it around for the wide receiver room, also for the tight end, also for Luke Getsy, get involved with the scheme, but for 2 tight ends at once when it comes to the regular season. I know it's gonna be like really complicated, but it's not meaningful. It's not meaningful about it because I know how the same is gonna be like hype up, but I know it's gonna be like interesting what's gonna happen
So
because it's
you
gonna
think
be like an excellent.
So you do believe that we were holding back a little bit what we really got?
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to like the system and this scheme, I mean, I have more confidence because I know that if Garner Minshew could really start for the regular season, they have no issues with that. I have a lot of confidence. But we need to be careful because the last time we just won against for the Los Angeles Chargers, I mean, there's like the whole defense going on point.
And now we're a better defense.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing to worry about it because we're not going to get an issue with another deja vu. It's going to happen for the last season. But I know it's going to be 100% healthy, and they know about the team is going to work it out.
All right, fair enough, Ref. We're about to wrap here, so thank you for joining us on Monday Night Madness. We'll see you next time, hopefully. Thank you so much. Just going to do some housekeeping here really quickly. Remember, light that torch, hit that like button if you haven't already. We are back for Season 2, Monday Night Madness, so make sure to tune in every Monday at 6 p.m. to join the madness. And then next week, Wednesday, 6 p.m., we're going to be starting season, I think we're on 3 now, of the Spicy Shield Talk with my boy Chris from Protect the Shield. So check that out. Omar, are you coming back with the Couch GMs?
Something. I'm coming back with something.
All right, he coming back with something.
Definitely some Couch GM episodes.
All right, look out for Couch GMs with Omar. Scotty Waddy's part of that as well, as and also Jerry out there in Arizona Raider Nation. And I'm gonna be on tomorrow night at the Raiders Open practice. And hey, we're gonna start a new trend here. Let's leave on a positive note. Garner Minshew has similar numbers of Rich Gannon, the great Rich Gannon, who took the Raiders to the Super Bowl, all the way to the Super Bowl back in the 2002 season. So, hey, he's got those kind of numbers. Again, thank you for joining us, everybody. Subscribe, light that torch, hit that like button, and we'll see you next time. And remember, Raider Nation, we go out one way and only one way. Raiders!
Peace, y'all.
All right, y'all.
Fact is, I grew up in Compton, California. I was born a Raider. I was born with the Raiders rolling in the Coliseum in LA. I was rolling with NWA, talking straight out of Compton, rocking Raider hats.
Clicked in my mind that if you just run through somebody's face, a lot of people ain't gonna be able to take that over and 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 over. Run through a motherfucker face.
I think this journey's the most special because there's not a lot of people that have the opportunity playing in high school and college and then pro and then being injured and then starting coaching as a young coach.
We understand what it's about. We understand Raider Nation. We understand Raider love. Since 1966, you guys have been coming to this stadium and you've been rooting this team on to victory. You've seen this team win 3 Super Bowls. You've been here through the ups. You've been here through the downs. But you never waver.
The mental side of the game is taking me to the next level, and it's true confidence. It's feeding your brain elite of elite. And that's, I always talk about 1% and more is required. And I always say these things, but it's what I live. I see it everywhere I go because you have to constantly train your mind for greatness.
All right, everyone. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you. Find me out at the practice tomorrow at the open practice at Allegiant Stadium. We've got some For Life, our Raider Stories tickets. We have some Woodson stickers. We have some Woodson Whiskey stickers as well. And come find us so you can be live on our show. All right, everybody. Have a good night. Spicy and Scotty